Yes guys, it's the boy Cam, CTB, Cam Talks Boxing, back with another video. Performance enhancing drugs in the sport of boxing. We've seen over the years many different fighters across the weight divisions have tested positive for a banned substance. It's caused cancellation of huge fights. It's caused suspicion within the sport, and I'm here to discuss whether all boxers in the game are on PEDs. Let's talk about it. Yes guys, if you're new, hit the like button, subscribe, join the road to 1K. Let's go straight into it. So, PEDs. There are a number of banned substances in the sport that we commonly see fighters use and get banned for. You know, there's nandrolone, there's clenbuterol, there's just general, traces of anabolic steroids. There's loads. I've got a whole list here. There's chlorothiazide. There's just there's speed enhancers. There's phentermine. And the list goes on and on. But today, in this video I want to discuss whether it's interesting. Are all boxers on PEDs? Is it just some fighters? And what should be the punishment for those who actually are cheating in the sport? Stay tuned to the end, because I'll give my verdict on whether I think all boxers are on PEDs or whether it's just a selection. So stay tuned to the end, guys. But first of all, let's just go through some of the fighters, not just recently after what's happened with Dillian Whyte, but let's just go through some of the fighters over the years who've actually been tested positive for illegal substances. So I'll start from 2000. Roy Jones Jr. He had anabolic steroid use, but he actually blamed a ripped fuel supplement. So that was Roy Jones Jr. I think it was after the John Ruiz fight, and look, he was one of the biggest stars in the sport. So as you see, and as you actually discover more as I go through this list, the big stars, they just cover it up. But at the end of the day, I remember, I was just born then actually, but I mean, I've looked into it, and he had super high testosterone levels. So look, that's one of the best fighters to ever lace a glove, to actually one of the best fighters of all time, easily in people's top 20, top 15, and even some people's top 10, even some people's top 5. Roy Jones Jr. in his prime was an incredible fighter, and you could argue no one in any generation and any weight could beat Roy Jones Jr. when he was in his prime. He was literally unstoppable. Obviously, when he went up in weight, when he came down, he slowed down, took too many silly fights, and that's when he started getting losses, But another fight, so that was in 2000. Then, in 2005, James Toney, what did he get done for? He got done for, I think it was, nandrolone. So he got done in nandrolone in a urine sample. That was 2005. I think that might have been when he went up to fight John Ruiz as well. But it was definitely after he won the cruiserweight title. But look, that's another, all-time great, rival of Roy Jones Jr. and freeweight world champion. What a fighter! But look, that's evidence as well. That's very again. Look, these big names are like, it was in their system at the end of the day. I'm gonna go and get into detail a bit more about my opinion on it. But that's 2005. I'm working my way up to recent times. But I can't remember when Mayorga, he got banned. I think it might have been prior to the Oscar fight. Fernando Vargas, he popped dirty before his fight with Oscar De La Hoya. I can't remember what substance it was. Then we have 10 years ago now, the great Eric Morales, prior to his rematch with Danny Garcia, he got done for clenbuterol. Clenbuterol, we know the biggest star in the sport today got done for clenbuterol, and we'll move on to him. But yeah, that was 2012. And then obviously I've got so many recently, you know, it's just, and that's the worrying thing, with probably even more recently. There's 2015, the best heavyweight in the world, Tyson Fury. He got done for nandrolone, and this was interesting because look, we all know about Tyson Fury, his story. You know, he became a hero, obviously coming back from what he went through. But look, I'll be brutally honest, like when he's acting like this now, it kind of makes you just say it how it is. And look, what happened was he got caught prior to the Christian Hammer fight for taking nandrolone, but it didn't come out. It didn't get revealed until 2017 when he was already out of boxing because he got a 2-year ban. So my point is, his story about gaining weight, obviously we saw he gaining weight. I'm sure he got depressed. I'm sure he had depression. Hands up, and that's I can't say anything bad about that. But my point is, he got banned regardless because of this bad substance, and that's not talked about. So there was even, I think, a farmer, because they tried to, him and his cousin Huey Fury tried to blame it on wild boar meat, and they paid apparently they paid the farmer 25,000 to keep quiet, and it came out. So it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. You know, you could, if you really want to, you could question Tyson Fury and say, look, if he wasn't on that, because he obviously must have been on that for one of his biggest fights, which was Vladimir Klitschko. You know, so that's a horrible kind of example, because that's the best heavyweight in the world right now, and he got popped dirty. You know, that was 2015, and then look, 2017, quite a few fighters popped dirty. Look, Luis Ortiz, he got done for chlorothiazide and hydrochlorothiazide. You know, prior to the Deontay Wilder fight, and Deontay Wilder still whooped his ass. You know, there was a danger, and at that time, a lot of people were saying Luis Ortiz was one of the boogeymen of the division. He was top 5 best heavyweights in the world. You know, people were saying Wyatt's ducking him, Joshua's ducking him. A lot of people wanted Joshua to fight Ortiz. Tricky fighter. He was, I mean, even then, 2017, I think it was about still 36 to 38. I think it might be 38. But he was just going through people, you know, and he almost got Deontay Wilder out of there, you know, in that 7th round, I believe. And then also in 2017, there was, who else was there? There was someone else. There was Shannon Briggs. Don't need to go too much into him, but you know how that year, 1 year before that actually, 2016, Lucas Brown got done for clenbuterol. Obviously the thing with Shannon Briggs is you saw the shape he was in for his age, and wow, like he obviously you knew he was in his 50s and he was absolutely shredded and just jacked, so you could tell he was definitely on something. But I forgot Shane Mosley, by the way. 2002, he got caught. He was working in the laboratory, and he got caught taking EPO. I think that's correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, guys, but I believe that was all about the EPO, was the hand speed drug that he was using, because obviously he was awfully quick as a fighter. But yeah, in recent times, Louis Neri, when he was in 2017, he got popped dirty when he was fighting for the WBC, just after he fought for the WBC bantamweight title. But yeah, just look, the list goes on. Look, you got Conor, you got Dillian Whyte, who just recently popped dirty, but then in 2019 he got covered up. He had 2 steroid metabolics in him prior to the Rivas fight. It's ridiculous, you know. Canelo in 2018, clenbuterol, they tried covering it. It's the biggest star in the sport, but they gave him a slap on the wrist, 6-month ban, but they tried blaming it on, what was it, Mexican meat beef, or so Jarrell Miller, multiple substances in 2019, and the list goes on. Conor Benn, adverse findings of a fertility drug, obviously the drug inside that was clomiphene. So boost the testosterone levels to super high amounts. Amir Khan recently got popped dirty. Oscar Valdez in 2021, he had phentamine. So look, the list goes on. Even if you go back to Alexander Povetkin, he's popped dirty a few times. People don't really often talk about, when talking about Deontay Wilder's legacy, we don't talk about when he was WBC champion. I think it was early 2015. He signed to fight Alexander Povetkin, and Povetkin, the fight didn't happen because Povetkin failed a drugs test. You know, he popped dirty. So look, Povetkin's not got a great track record, and that's definitely one of the best heavyweights of his generation. Like, you know, I don't think that's a bad statement at all. Look, he's fought the best, and he lost against some of the top fighters. Former world champion, was it? He might have won a regular WBA title, but nevertheless, I'm sure he's a former world champion, and he was a great fighter, you know. So that's an awful, like that's not even. There's so many more as well. And look at the fighters. There's some legends in there, former world champions, world title challengers, and that's the thing. That's what I'm gonna get into, guys. What should be the punishment for these fighters? Because at the end of the day, that's the question, though. Look, because that's the thing. As fighters, everyone thinks there should not be you should not be cheating in the sport of boxing. You are fighting to inflict damage. You're fighting to hurt the other opponent, because that's what boxing is. And if you've got a boosted substance in you, what if you kill someone? Like, that's just morally it's wrong, and moreover, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. You know, you've heard Tolu Bendu, people like that say they should get a lifetime ban. Well, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forwards. But look, we've seen slap on the wrists, and at the end of the day, it's just money talks. You know, it's corrupt, because if the biggest star in the sport, Canelo, got done and failed 2 drugs tests, it was 2, I believe, as well, and all he got was a 6-month ban. It doesn't look good. But look, do I think all boxers are on PEDs? It's a hard one, guys. Let me know what you think. But in my opinion, I think there must be, because like, if these, I think it's just that you've got to be unlucky to get caught. Because think about it, if all of these fighters have tested positive, these are some big fighters. Like, when you're fighting at that world elite level, you're going to be at a disadvantage, because if you're not taking something, you're going to be at a disadvantage. Like, that's the thing. And I think surely everyone must be on steroids. Like, even in the UFC, you see what Nate Diaz said, everyone's on steroids. I think, in my opinion, my heart tells me that it's if you get your cycle messed up and you get caught, that's what happens. You know, I think obviously you've got, when you're at the top level, you've got the top doctors, you've got the top professionals making sure you don't get caught and you pass all your tests. But for me, it's just, even like AJ, look, hats off to him, he's never failed a test, but surely there's some suspicions, you know. And I'm actually going to do a separate video on AJ and how the project and the plan from Eddie Hearn on AJ has kind of failed miserably, just all the way from when he lost to Andrew Ruiz and obviously trying to get him into the US market. But guys, overall, I do think everyone's on steroids, everyone's on some sort of performance enhancer. I think at the elite level, it's just hard for them not to be, which does kind of make it an even playing field. But imagine those who aren't taking anything. I mean, do they even exist? But I mean, that's the thing. Then if I say that, then what should be the life? The thing is, you'd think it's two things. If it's not all fighters and all athletes taking performance enhancers, then the punishment probably shouldn't be a lifetime ban or like a 10-year ban, because what's the point then? But then I think it should be to set an example. So if you are, because at the end of the day, it's cheating. So even though I think all fighters are taking PEDs, I think the ones who get caught, then I think to show us fans an example that it's actually a fair sport and it's run properly and it's fair and it's morally correct. I mean, forget the morals anyway, it's corrupt, and you know, you hear fighters say it's a selfish, industry, it can swallow you up. But I think they need to have a proper ban, on, like a proper punishment, 10-year ban, bang. Because then it will either make them even more cautious about taking PEDs, or it will eradicate PEDs from the sport in general. I mean, they do thorough testing, VADA, USADA, you got UCAD, etc. But I mean, are they even? I mean, promoters, money talks. So they've got power. They can probably hide things well. The boxing organisations, arguably, rumoured that, you know, Eddie Hearn obviously made sure he scared apparently, you know, he made sure that Dillian Whyte still fought Rivas a couple of years ago when Whyte failed a test, and obviously that just got all brushed under the carpet. So look, it's interesting, guys. But guys, let me know what you think about this. It's an interesting topic. I could even do a part 2 on it. But guys, I want to ask you 2 questions. Are all boxers on PEDs? And second question, what should be the punishment if you do test positive? Guys, please hit the like button. That will really help me, because it will tell YouTube that you want my video to be shared and recommended. And then hit the like button. I'm almost on 600 subs. I want to hit 1k subs by the end of the year, and I only can do that with your support. For those who watch and subscribe, thank you so much for your support. As always, really appreciate you guys. Check out my Twitter, check out my Instagram, Cam Talks Boxing. Going to start posting on there, trying to grow that platform. Check out my TikTok, and guys, I'll be back with another video. Talking numbers on